UOB One's interest has recently fallen from 100k, which pays up to 5%, all the way down to 150k, which pays up to 4%. Not only did the interest rate drop, but the capital you need to park inside for the highest tier rate have increased. A client of mine recently asked me this question: what should I do with the money I have in my UOB One account now the interest rate has dropped? I think an event like that is a really good time for us to reassess, reevaluate as to whether do we really need this amount of cash and should we even consider investing this amount. Before looking out for solutions, right, I think the first question we need to ask ourselves is, why do we need to keep this amount of cash? And let's say we have 150,000 in UOB One account. Why do I need this 150,000 and when do I need them? People save up for different reasons, and some people save up for housing, some people save up to start a family, to buy a car, to start a business, miscellaneous reasons. You got to ask yourself, if do you really need to keep this amount of cash, or if this amount of cash is just for psychological comfort. You may be surprised that you are keeping more cash than you actually need to keep. And when do you need this money? From personal observation, I come to realize that actually people don't really need a lump sum of cash all at once. Usually, let's say they are going through a life phase. Perhaps they just got married, started a family, and there's a lot of cash outflow, right? But typically, these cash outflow don't all happen at once. They are staggered over a period of time. Knowing the outflow schedule can greatly help with selecting your instruments to optimize your cash or to invest your cash later on. Maybe your short-term goal isn't that short after all, and you're holding on to a bunch of money that is supposed to be used for mid-range goal, but you're optimizing them using short-term solutions. Going back to the question, what should I be doing with the cash I have in my UOB One interest account or any other high interest saving account? What I can think of is there will be two groups of people. A group of people who already has, say, 150k or the upper tier limit of this saving account. The other group of people are people who are building towards this higher tier. Maybe they only have, say, 50,000, 60,000 inside the account. Let's address the first group first. There are two ways to look at optimizing this cash, assuming you need them for the short term and can't really take much risk. First option is to look at the guaranteed solutions pool. What are other solutions that's equally guaranteed, generally short term in nature? You have your Singapore savings bond, your treasury bill, your fixed deposit. And at the time of making this video, the next 3 years of interest for Singapore savings bond is at 3.26%. T-bill closed quite recently at about 3.6%. Your FD rate is around 3% on the low side. So having these facts in mind, I think you will be way better off just keeping your money inside the UOB One account, earning you 4% compared to all the 3% range peers. You can also consider the other alternative. Disclaimer, this is not financial advice, which is to take some risk on this money. It may not be all of it, it could be some of it, just so that you can boost up your returns. And by risk, I meant places like the money market or short duration bond funds. They are available in ETF formats. They are also available in unit trust format. The good thing about this instrument is you're probably going to see a range of returns between 3 to 7%, of course depending on the funds that you invest into. But the downside is there is volatility, there is risk that you may lose money. Let's say you're going down this path, then you might want to ask yourself what is the best, base and worst case scenario. So this is just my opinion of things. Fed has kept rate high for quite a while now, and the market is expecting that Fed cuts rate. And there's an inverse relationship between interest rate and also bond prices. When interest rate falls, bond prices tend to go up. With that in mind, right, the best case scenario of going down the path of, say, a short duration bond fund is you probably will get dividend gains and at the same time capital gains when interest rate eventually cuts. The base case scenario would be Fed don't cut their rate, so we wouldn't be expecting much or any capital gain. Gains would primarily be coming from dividends. In the worst case scenario, we got to consider the worst, right? Fed actually raise their rate or a recession come into play. As a result, the stock market, the bond market takes a hit. We should expect some capital losses. But bear in mind that over the years, you may have earned some dividend that might offset some of your losses. So if you have 150,000 sitting inside your UOB One account, then this will be your two line of thinking. What are my guaranteed options and what are my non-guaranteed options? So for the other group of you who are building towards your first 100,000, 150,000, maybe right now you're at 20, 40, 60. I don't know. The first thing you might want to do is to check how much interest you are receiving right now. Scroll through your last few bank statements to see how much interest have you received, or use the bank's calculator to roughly gauge how much interest you are getting. And if you're getting less than 3%, then maybe all the guaranteed solutions like T-bill, Singapore savings bond, fixed deposit might help in your cash optimization and help you get to your 150k goal faster. And if you're still building to your first 100k, 150,000, I'll imagine that you might still be a young wealth accumulator. And just remember the quote, don't risk what you have and need for what you don't have and don't need. I hope you found this video helpful, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.